I thought something that was interesting, John, for me was I was kind of watching both benches during the game, and you looked at Kentucky's bench, and it just seemed like every single coach was up, was coaching, and you looked over at Kansas's bench, and everyone was very calm. Like even though they were down 14, it's like, hey, we got a veteran team. We've been here before. We've got arguably the best player in the country. I mean, we could make a case for probably a handful of guys right now. We're going to be just fine. I thought that calmness and it just showed just how much of a veteran team Kansas is that they were able to pull it out. I mean, what a game by Hunter Mickelson. I think if you look at this game and you're saying, look, impressed with Kentucky, the young guards showed up. They're going to be good. They shot a ton of threes. What's going to happen when this game gets down in the trenches and Kentucky's not making shots? They're just really thin up front. Trey Mitchell's got to get some help up there. Can they get one of the 3 7-footers eligible? That changes their front court. But I just thought Kansas just had a poise about them the whole game. It was like, hey, we're down 14. Nobody panicked. Everyone's like, all right, we're just fine. And Hunter Mickelson, man. John Henson, man, I don't know if you've seen too many performances like that from a front court player in college. That was something else.
Yeah, man. They Kansas, they came to play. They had a calmness about them, veteran team. They acted like they had been there before. But Kentucky came to play, man. It's like Calipari gave their guards a little bit of freedom to kind of do their thing. They kind of got like a revamped pro-style offense. They've got a stretch 5 with Mitchell. Dillingham, it was almost like, in the NBA, we say, hey, look, if you're a shooter and he goes under, shoot that. It was almost like he had the green light to do those type of things. So I'm like what I'm seeing from Kentucky. They're looking like the Kentucky and the Calipari teams of old that are playing high-level offense and really, trying to figure out what they want to do and who they're going to be. But I think Kentucky's going to be fine.
Hey,
John,
John, was there like
as a front court player, though, when you looked at that game, right, like the biggest stat that stood out to me on why Kentucky didn't win was points in the paint.
Right.
42-24. So, like, at some point here, Kentucky is going to have a game where those threes aren't going in at the clip that they were going in. Like, right. What are they doing when that thing's got to get in there in the trenches? Like, that's my biggest question on them.
For sure. And being a big man and, being at a big man school when I went to school, in college basketball, you need to be able to score inside. It's just how the nature of the beast. Those shots aren't always going to fall in. It's a lot going on off the court with college kids class. It's a lot more. You're not focused 24/7 on basketball. So you're going to need somebody inside to get those easy points or to be able to attack and get into the lane. So Kentucky's going to have to figure that out. They're shooting 43% of their shots are three-pointers. I don't know if Cal loves that, but for right now, that can sustain them. And then they've got to figure out what they're going to do with their bigs and get some of those guys eligible.
Yeah, I was going to ask John because it was such a weird game because Kentucky comes out, Dillingham's going ham from 3, hitting everything he's putting up. Like it was honestly awesome. And then Kansas, you sort of start to feel like don't lose me now, stay with me.
Listen,
right?
I'm coming. I'm right here.
And then of course Kansas, it starts to feel like settles in. They take the lead. Kentucky punches back. Before ultimately, like, was there a game like that in your career that was sort of, nip and tuck like that, where there were times where you felt like you felt good, you lost control, you took it back? Was there a game that you can sort of remember in your career like that?
I'm going to go against Kentucky at Rupp when we lost. AD blocked my shot at the end. We were going back and forth. We had Kentucky on the ropes with, people don't really remember the exact specifics, but we were up 4 with like 50 seconds left or something like that. I think Deron Lamb hits a big 3. We miss a shot. They come down to score. We're down 1. That was a game where it was just back and forth. We thought we had control. Kentucky comes back. They kind of seize control. We come back. And that was one of the more memorable games of my career because we really wanted that one, man. I might have broke a water cooler after that game, man. It was that intense. It was that emotional.